So last year I made a video about Phill Simms' son and him hating on the Philadelphia Eagles, and it looks like history has a funny way of repeating itself. So we're going to talk about Phill Simms' child, and we're going to talk about Micah Parsons also being just a hater. I don't understand why everybody want to hate on the Eagles right now. Maybe it's because we're great, but we're going to talk about all that, and we're going to talk about what I think that it means, and we're going to look at this Bears game a little bit as well. But let's get into it, man.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
What's going on, you guys? This is your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So today, like I said, I want to talk about the offspring of Phill Simms. I want to talk about Micah Parsons. I want to talk about this Chicago Bears game a little bit. But before we get into that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family. We are literally 15 away from 4K, so definitely hit that subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. You know, it means a lot to get to that 4K mark. But let's just hop right into it. So I'm going to start with Micah Parsons because I did talk about this a little bit yesterday. I was on Bird Gang's show, and we talked a little bit about Micah Parsons and what he said. Look, personally, I don't think that it means anything. I think that Micah Parsons is one of those guys that is trying to psych himself up mentally because he knows, and I know, and I think that everybody in Dallas knows, for the Cowboys to beat us, it's going to take that defense. They can get all excited about, you know, Dak Prescott being back, throwing 2 interceptions damn near a game. They can get all hype about that, but the real truth is that they are not a Super Bowl contender. They are not a playoff team without that defense. So, I mean, look, if Micah Parsons, this is how you want to hype yourself up, that's cute. That's what's up. It's not going to go the way that you want it to. We saw what happened last time that we played them, right? And I know they like to bring up that Dak wasn't there, but at the end of the day, Micah Parsons was. And you could barely know if you didn't look at the, you know, box score, or even if you did look at the box score, the man did nothing. You know, Lane Johnson held him down. So I'm not too worried about him talking that talk. If anything, I think that it's going to pump up our guys. And, you know, a lot of people like to say bulletin board material. It kind of feels like that. It kind of feels like this is that type of stuff you're going to take and you're going to look at and be like, all right, bet. Remember you said that. Let's get into it. But it's hilarious that on a week that we have nothing to do with them, they are continuously just talking about us, thinking about us. The Eagles are now they are the target. You know, it feels like the Philadelphia Eagles right now for a lot of teams are what they are comparing themselves to. I have some friends that are 49er fans, and all they talk about is that they can beat the Eagles. That's all they talk about. I have friends that are, you know, other teams, and they feel they can beat the Eagles, and that's all they say. It's not, you know, and look, I know I'm an Eagles fan. I talk about the Eagles all the time, so that's probably why they come to me with it. But I've had other years where they haven't even talked about it. So it's obvious that the Eagles are on the forefront of most people's mind. And for, you know, for somebody, like I said, Micah Parsons did as much as I did in that first game. So I think it's hilarious for him to be the one to come out and say something like that. We'll see what happens. I do feel like the Philadelphia Eagles are going to use this. I feel like the Eagles are going to maybe not scream it out loud, maybe not say, you know, to everybody at every conference, like, oh, remember what he said. But I feel like this is going to be on the back of their mind. They're going to be thinking, hey, remember when Parsons said that little extra, so let's use that. Now, what else can be on their mind? Look, a lot of people feel a lot of different ways about this whole MVP race with Jalen Hurts. I personally, it would be cool if he got the MVP. That would be dope. But at the same time, I could care less. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to get to the promised land. I want to finish this year off the correct way. So if that means, you know, Jalen Hurts not winning it, that's what that means. But Phill Simms' son, Phill Simms' child, you know, his redheaded stepson. He's not redheaded, but he should be a stepson. Anyways, Chris Simms. I don't understand why every single year he has to say some hating ass stuff. Dan Orlovsky, he says a lot of hating stuff, but at least this year he's turned it around. At least this year he said, look, he has gotten a lot better. I did not expect him to get that good. What is Chris Simms still hating on? Chris, what did we do to you? Chris, what did the Eagles cut you or something and we didn't realize that or something? Like, what did the Eagles do to you? What did Jalen Hurts do to you, Chris? That's what I want to know, because if you can still look at this Philadelphia Eagles team and say that Jalen Hurts is not in the conversation for the MVP, if he's not one of your top 2 guys, if you want to give it to Mahomes, If you want to give it to Josh Allen, if you want to give it to Joe Burrows, you can make an argument for them. And I respect all those arguments. I mean, if you really look at those teams, yeah, if those quarterbacks went down, I don't think those teams would be in contention. But at the same time, you can say the same thing about Jalen Hurts. You know, a lot of people in specific, right? Chris Simms wants to talk about Jalen Hurts having two of the best wide receivers in the game right now, and he compared it to Tua having, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, right? You compare it to that. Tua's not in conversations for the MVP, so if he has those guys, why is he not? You compare us to having a great, one of the best, you say that we have one of the best running games in the league, you say that we have one of the best offensive lines in the league, and this is all weaponized to use against Jalen, and I just don't understand it. Why is it a problem if a team, I remember years where we would argue about Brady, how he always had a top 5 defense whenever he went out there and won, how he always had a great offensive line when he went out there and won. At the end of the day, you as a quarterback have to make it work, right? As a quarterback, you have to put the pieces of the puzzle together and go out there and win games. Jalen Hurts has done that. Jalen Hurts can go into this. He can ruin this team. He can realistically ruin this team by going out there and trying to be something he's not, going out there and trying to lead the team in a way that he is not a leader, or saying things or doing things or taking over the game in times where we don't need him to. There's so many ways that Jalen Hurts can falter. Yet, since he's doing well, we want to utilize everything against him. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. And I've been one to be critical of Jalen Hurts. I've been one to say, you know, Jalen Hurts needs to improve here. He needs to improve there. I need to see this from him, that from him. I've seen it. So I don't understand how Christopher Simms can, come on, man. Come on. I just don't get it. Especially from Chris. It's just blowing my mind that Christopher Simms, Phill Simms' son, really thinks that he has any type of right or any space to talk about another quarterback in the way that he's talking about Jalen Hurts. Chris, if you were on this, and then to say that Gardner Minshew could go out there and do the same damn thing is just blasphemous. Chris, I wish you could be our quarterback for one game, so that you could go out there and go 1 for 74 with 12 yards. Like, that's literally what you would do. So I just don't understand how he can do. I don't. Please make it make sense. I know it's very early. I just had to get this out there. I wanted to just vent because I really don't get it. I really don't get it. But anyways, you guys let me know what you're thinking in the comments. Do you think that Christopher Simms had any type of points to what he was saying? Look, the Eagles are a great team. I don't think that can be held against Jalen Hurts, though. So you guys let me know what you're thinking. But other than that, you know what it is. It is Fly Eagles Fly. We are out here. Peace!
Yeah, Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown, time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here cool on Philly the podcast.